Hi, my name is Dawn Brooks, and my OFAR project focused on Music 101, the history and appreciation of music. It was an easy choice for me because the way I was taught music history and the way most textbooks still present it is so focused on Western Europe and primarily German male composers. And so I knew it would be fertile ground for me to expand that recognized canon of classical music and include other cultures, other traditions that were definitely influencing those composers, include marginalized voices like female composers, places from around the world, other instruments. And so I was really excited to do that. I adopted an OER textbook, which allowed me already more resources of the sort of topics I could cover, and then I used my own experience and my own knowledge of music history to introduce a lot of those expanded ideas and themes. This module from the Middle Ages is a great example of how I did this. I recorded a video at the beginning discussing my philosophy of teaching classical music, why I still think it's relevant, but why I'm rethinking the way I present it and why I want to hear more about their perspective and their opinions and their traditions and how music plays a role. I included 3 female composers, 2 sacred composers, and a secular composer that are rarely discussed in music textbooks. And then when I started talking about chant, which is linked in music history with the development of notation in the early Christian church, I incorporated chant traditions from all over the world to show this was already happening elsewhere, and by the way, there were already notation systems in play.
Hello everybody, my name is Ronza Hosari. I'm a part-time math instructor at Golden West College. OFAR has inspired me to make a lot of positive changes in my teaching to make it anti-racist. I would like to share with you what I've done. I worked on my syllabus. I did it, make it more supportive, more representative, and welcomes all students. I added hello in so many different languages to represent the Golden West population, added a picture of me and my baby to give an impression of an approachable instructor. I removed punitive language, strict class policy about makeups, strict deadlines, changed my office hours to more structured office hours to encourage students to come, encouraged students to build community, added a statement about that we are an anti-racist community, complete use of free textbooks and free math programs, created study guides for quizzes and exams that are detailed, full questions with answers written, rewrote word problems. For example, now I have student names from different cultures, not just from a specific culture.
My name is Noah Levine, and I teach philosophy at Golden West College. Through OFAR, I realized that I had already implemented a lot of open and anti-racist strategies in my classroom that I had learned through trainings on our campus, including the benefits of open educational resources, providing a welcoming class environment, and by assigning personalized, non-disposable assignments. Because philosophy in the U.S. is traditionally very white, male, and Western, I want to increase the diversity of viewpoints and authors present in the course materials in my online introduction to philosophy classes for my project. My goal is to increase the overall diversity in my course content from an abysmal 10.8% to 50% while maintaining 100% free materials. While I didn't quite get there, I did increase the diversity to 38%. I plan to keep going until half of the materials in all my courses come from non-traditional authors and viewpoints. For example, I had my students apply the universalist ideas at the core of Sikhism to Pascal's wager and learn about the one-drop rule for being Black alongside the blood quantum rule for being Native American in the context of personal identity. I also allowed students to submit a video or create a comic rather than write a traditional essay from any of the assignments. A survey revealed a positive attitude towards these increased options as well as toward greater content from diverse perspectives and authors. As part of a research project at Golden West College, I also collected data on the impact of these changes on student persistence and success. Early analysis suggests that there isn't much impact, but I need to gather more data to see if these changes will help close my remaining equity gaps. I'd like to thank OFAR, its community, and the team here at GWC for a great experience.
Hi, I'm Shatarupa Ray, and I teach human physiology at Golden West College. I'm going to talk about my project on OFAR, which stands for Open for Anti-Racism. So why I picked this project? Well, I wanted to deepen my understanding on anti-racism, but I also wanted to actively practice and implement anti-racist mindset among my colleagues and students. I wanted to reflect upon my own understanding and thinking and biases and wanted to find areas of growth. So my project had two main goals. The first goal was to find a good OER textbook, which I did find. But the problem is this textbook does not come with high quality images or illustrations, which led me to my second goal, where I encouraged my students to generate OER materials, which not only increased student engagement and participation, but it also helped me to improve and supplement text. And I'll show you a quick example. So this is a screenshot from the textbook, and these few paragraphs are talking about the nervous system. This material is very dense and does not come with any image. However, my students read those paragraphs and they came up with this beautiful chart which explains the difficult concept. This is not only pretty and easy to understand, but it helps all types of learners in my classroom. So the takeaway message is that OFAR project gave me practical strategies to integrate anti-racist practices into my teaching, curriculum design, and classroom culture. It helped me to create a very inclusive classroom environment and helped me support my students and my colleagues at the same time. Thanks for watching.
Hello again, my name is Haley White, and my OFAR project focused on my poetry unit in my critical thinking through literature class. The idea was to make poetry more approachable by studying contemporary song lyrics alongside with traditional poems. The intent was to increase student engagement, kind of encourage them to engage with the text because they're familiar with the songs, and I also wanted to test their natural gravitations towards culture, which I'll talk about next. But during this unit, we would take songs and poems that fit a theme for that week, like female rage, socio-political unrest, and we would compare and contrast these different texts, sharing our interpretations using poetic devices and terminology that one would learn in a traditional poetry class. So for this unit's summative assessment, students would choose one song and one poem that they felt connected through a theme of their choice, and they would analyze them together both in a presentation in class and then an essay format. The things they explored were how the texts were similar, how they were different, and how the authors used different poetic devices to illustrate the poem's meaning. The unit was really successful. Students naturally gravitated toward discussing different aspects of their culture, like immigrating from Vietnam or experiencing gentrification of a primarily Hispanic neighborhood, and they were really emotional talking about it. A few tears were shed in class, and it was really beautiful, honestly. I saw an increase in student participation. People who I had never really heard from all semester suddenly were extremely excited to share their analysis of these texts. And a student came up to me and said that they started writing poetry for the first time, that they'd never done that and have found it to be incredibly therapeutic, which is amazing. And I had another student say that they have a new appreciation for what songwriters do, that they never really listened to the lyrics before, but now they are so amazed about how these songwriters can use poetic devices to infuse so much meaning into just a short little song. We wanted to share a couple of events where we were able to present to our colleagues. We have our spring summit and end of semester knowledge exchange, both of which we were able to give short presentations where we gave an overview of the OFAR program and what our individual action plans look like and the outcomes of those projects. So it's been nice to kind of share the wealth and share the knowledge of what we've all learned in this OFAR program.